Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending where you are and where you're joining us from the world. Welcome to another Decrypting Crypto live stream with today's news highlights, adoption highlights, and Twitter highlights. I've got here Maddie with me, my co-host. Welcome to the show, Maddie, Mr. Oracle.
Hello, guys. How are we?
Oh, you sound you sound a lot louder today than usual. What have you
Yeah, I
done?
got my earphone. I got my earphones in, so hopefully everyone hears me now, loud and clear.
Yeah, we can definitely hear you much better, bro. All right, how's your week started off? How's your long weekend?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Just celebrating Christmas with family, like I'm sure everyone is, which is great. And yeah, looking forward to a new year. Hopefully, the crypto market can turn for the best in the new year, and we have a fantastic 2023.
Yeah. This today we're going to be covering a few things that's happened over the year. So we'll do start doing a bit of a recap between now and the end of the year, so we can get started nice and fresh in 2023.
Awesome.
Without any further ado, let's get started with this week's news highlights. And look, I've got to sign up correctly. Wow. Look at that. All right. So first up, we've got House passes $1.7 trillion spending bill to avoid government shutdown. Now, this is part of the omnibus bill that was presented to Congress last week. I think we mentioned it last week on Friday that this bill has been presented. They gave the government pretty much 48 hours to pass this bill. There was a lot of controversy around this bill. About whether it should be signed off or it shouldn't. It has been signed off with a vote of 225 to 201. Now, this bill is going to have a spending of $772.5 billion for domestic programs, $858 billion in defense spending, as well as $45 billion to Ukraine, $785 million for migrant services in sanctuary cities, $5 billion for the cost of war toxic exposure fund through the PACT Act, which is basically a healthcare system for US veterans. The bill also includes provisions for electoral count updating and also looks at talking about banning TikTok on government devices. So this is a pretty big bill that has been going around. There's been, as I said, a lot of controversy around it. As you can see, there's a lot of spending happening over, especially in the defense. And $1.7 trillion from a country that's already in debt means that they have to get this money from somewhere. And this money is going to come from taxpayers and from the government selling more government bonds, which means more money printing. What are your thoughts on this, Maddie?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think more money printing. I think the money could be coming from taxpayers with the increase in interest rates. But yeah, we just have to wait and see once once these countries come out with like their budget. Obviously money needs to come from somewhere, and usually the money comes from taxpayers. And right now, obviously, everywhere around the world we have an increase in interest rates. So, are they going to be spending the money in the right areas? Obviously the US likes to think itself as the powerhouse and the savior to all countries. So they've got a really big bill there that they want to spend on humanitarian aid for the Ukraine, which is 45 billion. So some people in the States might think, hey, why are we spending our own money to help other countries? But that's what, the United States that's what the United States has always been seen to be kind of like the big brother, the savior. So at the end of the day, some people may be unhappy, but we just have to wait and see what the budget comes out with in the new year. Where are they getting this money from? Like you said, are they going to be printing it, or is it coming from the taxpayers' money?
Yeah. Interesting views then. All right, moving over to your story with SBF,
Yeah.
SBF update.
So we covered this last week, how he's now, staying in his parents' house. He, stated a couple of weeks ago he only had about $100,000 in his own personal account, but seems to have found $250 million bail from his parents' house in Palo Alto. So the conditions right now, he's on home detention. He's got a monitoring device. He's surrendered his passports. And yeah, his parents obviously secured the bail with the equity in their house, but I mean, it's got to be a huge house to put up that much for bail.
Well,
So,
no, it's actually the house is only worth $4 million, and this is where the controversy around this is. Like, it's a $250 million bond, but they don't have to pay a single cent of it up front. and his parents basically put their $4 million house up as collateral. And if SBF doesn't show up to court, then his family is up for a $250 million bill. So they actually haven't paid anything. So he hasn't paid a single cent to get out. This is why people are losing their shit over this, is because he hasn't paid a single cent. They just signed a piece of papers, an IOU notes, and they walked out.
And yeah, what's interesting as well is before everything sort of went belly up, I'm assuming he's very much like a retail investor. And when you start seeing the collapse of the FTX token, or you start seeing the collapse or a lot of liquidity being pulled from your exchange, you're probably going to start taking some money out of the market. So at the end of the day, when there's a crime committed, everyone says, follow the money. And where is the money? Everyone wants to know where the money is, because all this money could not have just disappeared. Even if people, a lot of people took their funds off the exchange, they're still going to have millions and billions somewhere. So we've got to find that money. And yeah, right now, one of the key witnesses is obviously his former girlfriend and CEO of Alameda, Caroline Ellison. She only had to pay a fraction of what he had to pay. And she's trying to avoid a 110-year sentence. So right now, I can't wait till we dive deeper. I can't wait for the next Netflix documentary on this, because I like a good documentary. But yeah, I think that we're only starting to scratch the surface about what caused this FTX collapse. And more importantly, which is funny to see, is lots of celebrities, including the guy from Shark Tank, really trying to keep his head above water, because he seems to be digging his own hole with all the stuff that he's saying on YouTube and press releases and stuff like that. And he's finding it very difficult to answer some hard questions that's been asked by, CNBC reporters and so forth. So look, I can't wait to hear what the final outcome is, and this is going to drag on for a long time. It's not going to be something that's going to be fixed, or we're going to find a result very soon. But it's entertaining. I like entertainment, and that's what it's given me.
Well, yeah, this is definitely something that's going to be dragged on for years through the legal system. But yeah, look, it is. I find that there's a lot of talk around how he got out of this, and how. Even what's the name? Caroline, she's actually avoided 110 years, and she's going to be out in a very short prison sentence because of the deals that she made. So, and yeah, interesting to see. I'll definitely be in for the movie or the documentary or the docu-series or whatever they come out with, because I don't think a documentary is going to be long enough for this, because it's going to go on.
It's going to be a 10-part. It'll be a 10-part series.
Yeah, something like that.
Have to make their money back somehow. They're going to need to sell the rights to this, and then that's how he's going to make his money to pay off all these debtors. Yeah,
that's right. Okay, last one is a wrap up of the 5 most important regulatory developments in crypto over 2022. So this is a bit of a wrap up, looking at what has happened over the past year in terms of regulatory adoption or new regulations coming to crypto. Now, we know with what's happened recently with SBF and FTX, next year is going to probably see a lot more regulation coming towards crypto. So this is just having a look at what we've seen so far. So we had the markets in crypto asset bill, which was the European playbook that they created. It became CZ even spoke about they could become a regulatory standard copied around the world. It included things like transparent licensing regimes, talks about what is the securities, mining. Also, there's some stablecoin stuff in there. There was a lot of stuff in that bill that came out. Some of it was good. Some of it was good for the market. Some of it wasn't so good. But it was a step forward in terms of having some kind of regulatory playbook for people to work with. Next thing we've got is the Luminous Gillibrand versus Warren Marshall. So the bill by Luminous Gillibrand was the first crypto bill that was proposed to Congress, and we reported on that. And they spoke about in that bill in terms of, about proof of work, about all different types of assets, what is a security, what is not a security. And this went into Congress. And then we had the FTX saga. And then you had Elizabeth Warren, who came in with the Warren Marshall bill, pretty much wanting to regulate everything in crypto, including DeFi and any type of or any transactions over $10,000 have to be reported to the government. It's a very, very strict bill that's in there at the moment. So they've got 2 bills going through US judicial system, or sorry, what legal system to become law. Both of them quite against each other. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens on that next year. Then we've got the Russia U-turn on crypto. So Russia being a communist countries don't want crypto. They don't want Bitcoin because Bitcoin is libertarian by nature. So it gives people freedom, and obviously communist countries don't want that. So Russia was very anti-Bitcoin and anti-crypto prior to their war with the Ukraine, until they found that they learned the hard way that being in a SWIFT system and a centralized system, they themselves got sanctioned. So Russia turned around. They started being a lot more lenient with crypto. Now they're looking at creating a government exchange. They're looking at allowing payments for exports and imports to be done by crypto. However, they're still not allowing crypto to be used as a form of payment within the Russian population. But they're starting to see the need for a decentralized system. The crypto mining moratoriums in both the United States and Canada, these were looked at. They were going to ban proof of work mining like Bitcoin. However, what it was doing is forcing miners to use renewable energy and not being allowed to use any non-renewable energy. So it's forcing miners to work harder to get their mines running by renewable energy, which ultimately is a good sign for Bitcoin, because we want that narrative to change. We want more miners to use renewable energy to get rid of this shadow over Bitcoin that Bitcoin uses too much electricity is bad for the environment, which is absolutely BS, being debunked over and over again. And last one we spoke about, I think it was last week or the week before, where Brazil legalizes crypto as a payment method. So now, it is recognized by the government that you can use crypto to buy things and pay for things. It doesn't make it legal tender. We spoke a little bit about that legal tender, you have to accept it, but a recognized form of payment just means you can accept it or you can decline it. It's up to you as an individual in the country. But it's still a very good step forward, because it shows that Latin America is adopting cryptocurrencies quite fast, and Brazil is a very, very large country. Kenya legislated crypto taxation. Nigeria rolls out their central banking digital currency. Central African Republic adopts Bitcoin as legal tender. It's been a massive, massive year in cryptocurrencies, guys, even though it's been quite a crappy year. What do you think, Matty?
Yeah, look, what was the biggest story for me? I think the Brazil definitely bringing on crypto as a payment method. I always like adoption. So anytime there's new adoption, that's a good thing. That's just going to further the space, increase the amount of people that we onboard into cryptocurrency. And even though the media are trying their hardest to make it seem like crypto is not a good investment, there's people that are now, doing their own research, becoming more knowledgeable and educated on the space, and are going to be more aware that this is obviously the future, which is great. So I always like adoption stuff, and I think the Brazil legalizing crypto as payment method was definitely my highlight.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's so much stuff happening, and it's just going to continue. I think 2023, regardless of how bad economically it's going to be, I think it's still going to be a lot of big moves in cryptocurrencies next year.
Alrighty, on to the Twitter highlights. Hopefully we got our...
we're doing the crypto bubbles first, right?
Yeah, the crypto bubbles, yeah. Gives you some time to change the title as well.
Yes, that's right. Actually, this is the market update. So looking at the crypto bubbles over the past week, last week we were here, it was a sea of red, but we're starting to see some altcoins starting to recover. All that Bitcoin hasn't moved much. We're seeing things like ADA, XRP, Quant. They've moved. Luna C. I don't know why Luna C keeps moving. There's a movement behind.
I saw that before.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening with that one. I see it come up, and I see people on Twitter talking about Luna C, and get rich. And I just see there's another scam. I haven't looked into it. I'm not gonna
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I'll stay away from that one. But you can see quite a few H-bar in the green. So let's look.
Casper's there with 9.2%. I know a few of our members hold Casper, so they'll be happy with that little pump today.
Oh yeah, okay. I don't hold Casper, I don't think. Cool. All right. So looking at the past 24 hours, Bitcoin hasn't done much. It's been quite flat for the past. It's been like this for a few days now, yeah, Matty?
Yeah, so the volatility is quite down on the major, blue chips, so Bitcoin and Ethereum, which means we're going to get a pretty big move in the coming sort of, month, because we've had so low volatility over the last. Well, it's been basically now about 10. How long has it been? Let me tell you exactly. Basically, since December 17th. So it's been about 10 days that we've kind of haven't really moved too much. And especially in the last 7 days, we've basically been trading, in a $200 range. So when we have this consolidation, this is just the calm before the storm. So we're about to see some action. I think we could actually see a bit of a push to the upside because I think a lot of people are bearish. I think that Bitcoin is primed and has shown that in previous bear markets, it does have a mid-bear market rally, and we haven't actually seen that yet. Bear markets usually last about a year, and we've already sort of surpassed that year mark. So I think we could get a little bit of action to the upside. I still expect lower, so it doesn't mean that we're, I don't think the bottom is in, but I think we might get a little bit of a push, possibly maybe even get to 20K. In the next sort of month or so. So that'll be interesting. But I still don't believe the low is in, but I think Bitcoin looks primed to maybe make a little push to the upside.
Yeah, I think we're going to cover that. We're going to cover the volatility when we get to the Twitter section. So we'll revisit that because I've got some thoughts on that too. All right. And last but not least, we've got our fear and greed index at 27, which is where it was a few days ago. Yesterday was at 28. As Matt said, people are very, very bearish. I'm bearish at the moment, even though, we've always been long when it comes to crypto, but that's long term. But I think, in the medium term, we're definitely in for some pain. So let's see what happens. All right. Over
That's
to you,
right.
Matty.
Alrighty, so CZ being, putting himself in hot water in the front of the news ever since the FTX collapse is sort of asking people why people are flooding Binance. And then I'm not going to go through all the threads, but if you do want to have a read, check out his tweet. He has about, he's got a fair few threads connected to it. So he just talks about how people have issues and they like to blame Binance. So he's trying to maybe... what's the word I'm looking for? He's trying to make sure that he's not collateral damage from the FTX saga, because since the FTX news, we had obviously the Binance FUD about the proof of reserves not being what they should be. A lot of money exited Binance around about that time where this FUD came in. So maybe Binance is going to start having a bit of issues. We don't know, like we would tell you if we knew 100%, but as we tell you every time, take your coins off exchanges. Unless you're a trader, you should be having them in a cold wallet, a Ledger or a Nano, so you don't succumb to any sudden collapses, because most of the time, especially if you're in Australia, most of these big news occur when we are asleep. So if you wake up the next morning and SHIT has hit the fan, you're going to be too slow to take everything off your exchanges because the exchange might be stopping withdrawals. So look, at the end of the day, be safe, have your own keys, be the master of your domain, be your own bank, and hold your own crypto.
Yeah. Look, I read this thread and he makes some interesting points about people talking about it, but at the same time, there has been a lot of FUD around Binance recently. I was actually reading a thread which I think was a lot better, which was from a third party. And they'll also talk about why Binance is still strong and why they're not insolvent. Now, like Maddie said, we do always recommend you never leave any of your coins on any exchange. I believe Binance is still the strongest out there at the moment. I don't have anything on there at the moment, obviously, because we not your coins, not your key, not your keys, not your coins. So we self custody everything. But there's one exchange that we still recommend people to use is Binance, because I think Binance is one of the strongest out there in terms of volume. Even when they had all that withdrawals happening, they didn't have any challenges with that. Everybody got their money, and I think it was like $3 billion in one day. So I think they're being stress tested, and I think people are just right now just looking for reasons to put FUD in the market. So there's two sides to it. As long as you got your coins, you got nothing to worry about.
Make sure you pop the Twitter banner up, even though I reminded you, must have forgot.
I I did forget.
All right, yeah, over to you for the next tweet from Ben Armstrong.
All right, so Ben Armstrong coming in saying the Bitcoin power, here's the power of Bitcoin. It's all baked in. Why does BTC go up the halving period? Look, Bitcoin tries to come, Big Boy Crypto always tries to come in and make these wild statements, and that is very, very important part of it. But I think when you start to understand Bitcoin at a deeper level, there's so many different working functions on Bitcoin that protect Bitcoin from so many different problems that it could actually face. And Bitcoin's faced so many problems over the past 13 years and has still worked. It's been unhacked. It keeps going up in value. And what is important to see in this is that every 4 years, how much less and less Bitcoin are going to be minted in about a 4-year cycle. So the first time there was like, what's that? There's like 10.5 million Bitcoin in the first cycle, 5 million, 2 million. And now we're like this, we've only got what? 656,000 Bitcoin, and then soon it's going to go down even less. So the less Bitcoin being produced, the more it becomes scarce, and the more the price will go up.
Yeah, and the halving is the catalyst to the next, obviously, exponential bull run. So we normally start seeing increases in price about 6 months out from the halving, and the halving, I'm pretty sure, is scheduled for about 2024. So yeah, we're probably halfway through the year. I've actually penciled in April 1st. I found that April 1st is a very common date where we see a lot of price action for Bitcoin. So you can look back in history to double check what I've just mentioned. So I do believe we're going to start seeing some movement April 1st next year, but probably not till mid next year. We're going to start really seeing some more volatility in the market.
Yeah. So right now, the thing that you can do is just stack more sats and
stack sats.
Stack sats. So I said, and one thing that I saw someone mention is look at the BTC per block and go 10 years out. So in 10 years' time from where we are now, it's only going to be 0.78 Bitcoin per block. So and they were saying that if you just accumulate that much sats in 10 years' time, that would be enough money for you to make to change your life. So,
yeah.
Do you know that theory?
Yeah, well, the theory is obviously because of the reduced rewards, this is what creates the exponential rise in the Bitcoin price. So this is why we have, Bitcoin's outperformed any other commodity or stock over the last 15 years because of obviously its fixed supply, but also because of its block rewards. So, this is, even though we're going through a bit of a recession and most other stocks are probably going to continue suffering, we hopefully shouldn't see the same with Bitcoin. And this is where we could see decoupling from the traditional stock market. So hopefully we see that if these recession and possible depression news continue, and this is going to be hopefully the catalyst to make Bitcoin really shine and bring it to the forefront of everyone's attention, not just people like you and I that have been in the space for quite a while.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on.
All righty, we got Will
talks about
Will. Yep.
Go for it.
You always like stealing my articles, I find.
Sorry.
All right. Will Clemente, Bitcoin's volatility is at an all-time low. So obviously this is just calculated by the price fluctuation. That's what volatility is. And we've obviously had a decrease in volatility ever since the all-time high. You'll tend to see that the price dumps haven't been as big as what they were earlier on. And this just means that we should expect volatility because, as you can see, what goes up must come down and what goes down must come up. So this is why I do believe we're going to have a pretty big move in the coming weeks. Either, like I said, I think most likely a little bit to the upside. It could be obviously a fake out. People think we've bottomed, and then we have one last huge correction to the downside. That's what sort of I'm expecting. But this is all going to this also needs to tie in with news and fundamentals, and that's things that technical analysis can't predict. But they all work entwined to forecast price and have an effect on price. So even though the technicals may be looking bullish, if we get news tomorrow that China's going to war with the US, don't expect the price of Bitcoin to move to the upside. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, and I think some people were commenting here that this happened back in 2018. The price went up, but Bitcoin did still go down further than that. But I think the main thing is, I mean, what that tells me is what you were saying before is that we get that that push just before the bull market starts happening. So that could be like the lull before the storm, like you're saying before.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Alrighty. Tower, so Burj Binghati, Jacob and Co Tower. So it's one of the largest families in Dubai. Again, these Arabs over there that love to bring attention, they keep building higher and higher buildings. This will become the world's highest residential tower, taking over from New York Central Park Tower. And by the time it finishes building, people will be able to buy luxury apartments in that building using crypto, using Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto that hasn't been announced yet. But they see this because they know that the future wealth is going to be coming through cryptocurrencies. So I think this is.
I thought the biggest tower was the Burj Khalifa in Dubai.
I don't think that's a residential tower though. I think that's an office.
Yeah, it is. It's a residential tower. Yeah, I went there. I went up it. Yeah, it's residential.
Okay.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I mean, it'd be bad if this news article was wrong. So maybe I am wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I know that Burj Khalifa definitely is a residential tower.
Yeah, I knew Burj Khalifa was the tallest building in the world, but I didn't know whether about it was being just a residential tower or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. All righty. Moving on to your story.
Yes. So Japan to revoke ban on foreign stablecoins in 2023. So they're considering changing the existing embargo on stablecoins, according to a report from a local news organization. And so the Financial Services Agency of Japan will lift the ban on domestic use of foreign stablecoins in 2023. So the new law will see the body in charge of stablecoins in Japan become distributors, i.e. the cryptocurrency exchanges in the country. So foreign stablecoin transfer will be limited to $7,500 per transaction. And now Japan looks more relaxed about cryptocurrencies as they're trying to attract international cryptocurrency exchanges to operate there. It's funny that I didn't know that they obviously had a ban on stablecoins because their close neighbors, South Korea, absolutely love cryptocurrency. So it's good to see that Japan's coming on board because they are quite a big tech hub as well. And like I said, once again, more adoption, and more laws and more laws to allow people to trade in cryptocurrency, but with better security around it. This is exactly what we want. We need to continuously push the space forward. So once again, just a great adoption news.
Yeah, I think the thing with Japan is they stopped they banned stable coins after the Terra Luna collapse earlier this year. So they didn't actually ban crypto; they just banned stable coins and the use of stable coins. So now, and they're only allowed for official government backed stable coins to be, or government issued stable coins to be used. But now they're allowing other companies into the market, but they still have to put up collateral, one-to-one collateral with the government. So it's just very tightly regulated for stable coins.
Alrighty, on to the last one, mate. Take us away.
Last one, Italy to create crypto art renaissance NFT market report. So this report is talking about how Italy is the cultural hub of Europe, and even the NFT. They've got something like 671 million valuation, the Italian NFT market cap or market valuation, and they're looking at it growing about 34.6% on compounding growth to get to about $3.6 billion in market value by 2028. And the Italians are very excited about this, especially because you've got a lot of high fashion brands like Gucci and so forth who are who are Italian, adopting Web3 and NFTs and stuff like that. This is all adding to what the Italians are calling the crypto art renaissance. So interesting to see what's happening over there. And we know that it is going to keep happening, and a lot of these luxury brands are going to find ways to bring their community in closer to them. Using NFTs. So exciting year ahead, exciting times ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Well, guys, we've wrapped up another Twitter highlight by the looks of it on our banner. But no, we've wrapped up another DC live stream once again. We're going to come to you with a special episode on Friday. We're going to wrap up the year, the biggest stories of 2022. We're also going to forecast our favorite coins that should perform well in 2023. So it's going to be an unmissable final DC live stream for the year. So please make sure that you do come and join us on Friday so we can leave 2022 behind and enter 2023 with a bang.
That's it. Looking forward to it. All right, guys. Until the end of the week, peace out. And as always, stay crypto.
Bye, guys.